This is the Dark Glider, aka the Dark Knight. He's called a sugar glider, and they call him a sugar glider is because he's almost like a squirrel in a way, but he's not because he's a marsupial. And marsupials have pouches, and sometimes the females, when the baby's born, it's not really finished developing, so the pouch is a good place for that baby to keep developing. Come on, little guy. Okay. So he uses his claws to climb on trees, and he has this piece of skin, or this flap of skin, called a patagium, and I'm going to show you right now the flap of skin.
It really hangs on.
Really digs in there.
He can spread it out, and then he can fly, and he can glide through the air, probably about 50 feet he can glide. And
What a weird thing.
How old is this one? Is that a
I
baby?
don't know, how old is this one?
No, this is a full-grown adult right here.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, they're not very large animals.
Yep. So he can glide probably about 50 feet in the air, and he usually is active at night, so he was kind of grunting back there because he didn't want to be awoken from his slumber.
What do they eat?
They eat bugs. They're an omnivore, and they eat like veggies and bugs. But, no, you're gonna go into my skin. And he is kind of gross in a way, like with the porcupine. He gets his urine and he rubs it on his hands and he puts it on a friend or another animal. When he comes back and smells it, he knows that it's his friend because that's his same urine.
Marking.
Yeah.
It's like dogs.
Yeah.
When they
Mark. Yeah.
mark their territory, right? And he's a really cute little guy. And that's it.
How did you guys get him here?
I don't know. How did we get him here?
The sugar gliders are very commonly kept as pets, but in California they're actually illegal. So if you get caught in California, they confiscate them, take them away. The sugar gliders that we have came from an illegal breeding operation. Somebody was trying to sell their babies on Craigslist, and so the Department of Fish and Wildlife that we have in California is usually on top of it. They will set up sting operations for these postings that they find on the internet. They'll offer to buy these animals, they show up, they give them a big fine, they confiscate whatever they have, and then they have to find a home for them, so they contact different sanctuaries in the area, and we happened to have room for them at that time, so we took in, I think, 4 sugar gliders in total. One of the ones that we got actually is, he's epileptic, I think, so he gets nervous, he seizes stuff right away, so we don't try not to use him. He's about half the size of this one, though, he's really easy to find.
What's their native habitat?
Australia. They live in the forest of
So
Australia.
they're all marsupials, huh? Okay.
What makes it illegal to have him as a pet? It's like a
It
hamster
would not
size.
be legal because then they would glide around.
Yeah, mostly it's just a concern with people releasing them into the wild. One of their favorite things to do is eat sap from trees, and they can be very damaging to trees that are not that don't grow fast enough. They can also open them up to lots of infection and stuff. So because our ecosystem in California is not really set up to handle these types of animals, we don't want them running around because they could cause unforeseen problems. You don't always know what an animal's going to do until you finally introduce it. He might bring you diseases. He might grow unchecked. There might be no predators to counteract this animal. He could take up a lot of resources, a lot of different issues. So California, we're actually very strict with what you can and can't have. Mostly reptiles, birds, and then cats and dogs. Outside of that, you can't really own too much. But in our neighboring states, like Nevada, you can get these guys, you can get ferrets as well in Nevada, so it just depends state to state what you can and can't have. On a federal level, a lot of stuff is unregulated.
What's the sugar glider's name?
The Dark Glider.
Dark glider.
Like the
Like
Dark
Darth
Knight.
Vader.
Like Dark
Like
Knight.
Batman. Because he lives in the dark and he glides around. But also, what's really cool with his tail, his really long tail back here, that almost looks like a squirrel, he uses that for steering. Like how you steer a car, that's how he uses to steer or like make a sharp turn when he's gliding through the air. Going a little fast for me.
He's very active.
Yeah.
Even though it's not his active time. So, any questions? Anybody? Okay, I'm gonna get him out so you can feel his back.
So when they're babies, they have that whitish hair. Is that what fuzz?
Touch 2 fingers on
No, they generally always kind of have a gray body with a black stripe right down the middle. Underneath they're a little bit more lightly colored. They have the gray and black on their backs, and then underneath they have more of a cream to white.
But he's so
Soft. Like a chinchilla or something.
Yeah, we have a chinchilla here.
Ultra sweet.
Oh, it's very soft.
Really?
Oh, little buddy.
Got sharp nails, huh?
Oh
Big
yeah,
eyes.
and I've got proof. Whoa. Don't be little guy. Anybody in the back? Fingers on the back. All right, we'll say goodbye to the dark glider. Bye, dark glider.
Dark glider.